Hey, what's up guys, welcome to another exciting design tutorial with UXmate. In our previous video about design system, what we saw is how to get started with the design system and how to create text styles and color styles. Basically we can call them tokens as well, design tokens. So we had learned how to create text tokens and color tokens, and in this video we are going to continue the same topic, get started with your design system, and we'll be learning how to create various components in the design system. So today we'll be just focusing on the buttons, because buttons are most widely or commonly used components in the designs, and you need your CTAs almost in every design. So let's get started with how to create buttons in a proper way, using components which would be lightweight and using the properties for the components. So by that you can basically create one single button or one single component that can be used in all possibilities, where you can probably have icons in it. Probably you'd be creating the dynamic text, having a hover effect, or maybe primary and secondary CTAs. So let's get started with it. If you haven't checked the previous video, make sure you watch it, because we already created the styles and we are going to use those styles in this video, right? So I'll be putting the link in the description, as well as in the top right corner in the info icon, so you can visit the older video and first watch that. So basically if we try to divide the buttons, there are different segments in the button. So basically let's try to list them down. In CTA, first we have text, the most important thing, okay? Then we have icons. So within the icons we have icon on left, and then we have basically you can say icon at right, not on, but yeah, icon on icon at right and icon at left, okay? And within the icons there could be different sets of icons. So basically it could be a drop down icon, it could be add, save, cancel, it could be any sort of icons, right? And then what else we need different states of the buttons. So when we say states, what are the different states? One is primary. It is not a state, but yes, let's say primary, or you can say active. Then we can say hover, and then we'll be needing a disabled, okay? And now after the states, what we can say is basically styles. In the styles we can say primary, secondary, and text only, where or text only, or we can say this as link button. So these are the basics which we need to have in our component. By with this we can basically create any sort of button, or using one single component you can switch the properties and you can get results which are basically mix and match of all these different sections, and you can create different buttons, okay? So let's get started with it. And first thing first, let's create basic structure of the button. So I'll just start with the frame, and let's give it a width somewhere around 200 pixels, okay? And height could be somewhere around 64 pixels, or maybe 32. 62 seems, or let's go with 64, okay? But it seems a big, or a larger button, I'm not sure, but I'll go with maybe 38, okay? 38 pixels. Width definitely going to be will not be going ahead with a fixed width. It is definitely going to be responsive width, because we need to adapt to the content within it. So that could be either content or but yeah, we'll be having a minimum width, and then we can have a max width. So we'll be covering all those different things. Now our base frame is basically ready, and you can have a word radius of 10 pixels maybe, and then let's call it as button, okay? Now as per our these different sections, what do we need is basically we need a button which has text. Now let's have a text here, button text, okay? And I'll just create a order layout in this. And make sure guys, whenever you're creating components, make sure you are using auto layouts within the components, because it will be very easy to keep your text or keep your content within the components organized, and have the exact amount of padding, which basically kind of symmetry or equality in your all designs, right? So you don't need to struggle with the paddings and margins and spacings of the design. Now you can see we have horizontal padding, which is somewhere around 51. Definitely we don't want that. So what we'll be doing, we'll be having it somewhere around 15 pixels. Okay, and for top and bottom we'll also go ahead with 10 pixels. Now, which is somewhere around taking my height to 37 pixels. So probably we can add one more, or let's see when we change the actual button text. And by the way, we already have created a button text style. So let me just detach this, and let me show you how how we can add the text properties or text styles. So you have to select your text, and then go to these 4 dots, and then select whichever text style which you want to apply to your button. So or your to selected text. So in this case we'll be using button, where we are using Lato medium with 14 pixels font size. And I feel this corner radius is too much. I can reduce this maybe somewhere around 5. Okay, this looks good to me. Now my button size is somewhere around 32, and which is good. I'll be creating a stroke as well to the CTA. Okay, now first thing is our basic button structure is ready. Now what we have to do is we have to create a component from it. But even before creating the component, let's first create all different elements which we need in the component. Now what we need next is we need icons. Okay, so for icons, what I'll do, I'll just quickly maybe I'll just create quickly a couple of icons here, or just couple of frames which are somewhere around 32 by 32 pixels in the width. Icon 1. We'll be definitely having a separate video on iconography, how to get started with icons and how to create different icons. So for that, make sure you have subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon next to it, because it will keep you updated with all upcoming videos. So be sure to subscribe and keep watching this space for more interesting videos. So let's maybe have a triangle in third icon. These are just sample icons. We'll be having a dedicated session on the iconography, how to get started with icons, how to basically create your icons, which can be used in your components or in the design system. I'll just give them quick colors. Definitely those colors are, or probably I'll just have them from the library itself, which we have created. Let's have them black. Okay, now we have icon 1, icon 2, icon 3, and what I'll do, I'll just create components from them. So which components these components we can later use in our button component as well. So now I'll just create an instance of this in this button frame. Okay, great. Now next thing is in the icons, what we have, icon at left and icon at right. So what we have to do is we have to create 2 icons here. So let me just duplicate this, and probably I'll say icon 2 for the right side, just for this tutorial. Now let's adjust the spacing in the components, which 10 pixels is ideally good, but due to padding in the icon, it seems a bit larger, so I'll go ahead with 5 pixels. Okay, great. So now we have icon like 2 icons in the component and 1 text. Now let's assign the colors, which will be basically deciding whether it is a primary, secondary, or it is it active or disabled button. So for colors, let's go ahead with the primary color, which is this primary text primary color property here. And for the text, I'll be going ahead with the white. Okay, I guess let me just change the color of white, because I guess in the last video we might have modified that. Okay, also in these icons I don't want the background color, so I'll just I'll just select all of them and I'll just hide the background color of the icon, so my icons will be always transparent when I'm using them in the components. And for the colors, I'll use white within the component. Okay, now we are done with the icons. Now next thing is managing the states. So we need active, hover and disable state. So let's create a button, and we can say / primary. Okay, first I'll just create a component here. Okay, and I'll say button, and I'll first assign the component properties, so which can be used to control our text and our icons. So let me select the icon. Okay, and I'll create an instance swap property. So when you select any of the component within the component, which basically allows you to create an instance swap property, where you can easily swap the instances of the components from the your selected component itself. So you don't have to go to the design library and select different icons. So let's create an instance swap property here, and this instance, what it is basically your icon left. Okay, and now this plus button is going to be helpful here, because we'll be it will be allowing us to select all the components which we have in our library or in our design file. So let me select icon 2 and icon 3 as well, which basically gives you option to add your preferred values to this component itself, which you can use to then shuffle through these variants or these instances from the component itself. Okay, let's now hit on create property. Well, before that, let me show you one more thing. So in the value we are selecting icon 1, so which basically helps you to select the default value. So whenever whatever you select in this value drop down, it basically set that value as a default value for your component. So whenever you create an instance of this component, it will be spawn the instance with the default value. In our case, we have icon 1. Okay, now let me create the property. Great, so our property is done. So now when you select this basically component, and you can see whichever property we have created, it basically have this icon left, which you can detach or basically go ahead and go to main component of this icon 1 and modify these components. But yeah, we are done with this. Now let's create again an instance swap for the icon at right. Okay, now in this case we'll be creating a property. Either we can use the same property icon left, because it is anyways going to be same set of icons in this particular example. But there might be cases where you need different icons when you are using icons at right side in your button, and you may need different icons when you are using them on the left hand side of your button. So what I would say, I would prefer to create two different properties, which will be giving you more control over your components, and basically more quick and easy way. You just have to spend your efforts once, and then you can basically use those components however you want. Let's create icon right, and let's select icon 2 as a default value for this, and same way we'll be adding other icons as well. Okay, icon 1 and icon 2 in this case. And now hit on create property, so it will create icon right property. So as of now we have icon left, we have icon right, and then we have this button. Now this button also needs to be dynamic. So what we can do is we have variables, right? So you can directly assign a variable to the button text as well, but there might be everyone might not have the access to the variables. So probably they might be using the free plan of the Figma, where we can create the variables, but we cannot use them in our prototypes. So in that case I'll be just creating it a simple text property. I'll not assign any variable, but if you want to see how to assign variables to the text and how to dynamically change them, we already have created a detailed video series on variables on the channel. So you can go to those videos. I'll be having the link on the info icon as well as in the description for the variables. Basically I have a playlist itself which talks about how to create different variables and how to use them in your prototypes. Okay, but for now let's create a text property. So I'll select the text, okay, and I'll be clicking on this create text property, which basically allow me to create a text property where I can dynamically, or not dynamically, basically I can change the text whenever I'm creating instances of the icon. Now I'll say, button text, and for now let's say click here. Okay, and let's create a property. So now I'll show you, whatever we have did so far, how it is going to be working. So let me create an instance of this component on a frame. Okay, I'll just align it to the center. That is not required though. But when I select this instance of the component, you can see, I have different properties here, or the different controllers here. So you have icon left, icon right, button text, and you can basically change these icons from here very quickly without going into much details, or you don't have to just worry about anything, and you can simply swap through the icons on both sides. Okay, so we are done with a good amount of work on this button. So let's pause in this video, and let's catch up in the next video in the series. I'd be putting all the videos of this series. Probably I'm thinking probably 2 or 3 videos of creating a button, because definitely button is very important aspect of designs, and which is going to be very basic thing which we need in each and every design. And I prefer to have a fully dynamic button that is going to be responsive as well as adaptive, and you can make changes very quickly. So let's pause in this first part of creating a button, and meanwhile you practice whatever you have learned so far. In the next video we'll see how to continue with this, and meanwhile don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it, and also hit that thumbs up button, which basically motivates us, and which helps us to keep creating this awesome content for you. Okay, so let's meet in the next video, next part of the series. Till then, keep watching, keep learning, keep designing.